Hello viewers, welcome to The View, a weekly talk show on Kuchu Times where we get to discuss different issues affecting the LGBTI community. Today, my name is Ali. In studio with me is my colleague Ruth.
Hello.
And Ambrose.
Hey.
We'll be discussing Chris Mubiru's case. Earlier this afternoon, Chief Magistrate Nawakos handed down a 10-year sentence to Chris Mubiru for sodomy, and he is to pay 500 million. 50. He is to pay 50 million to his victim. But the question is, was this verdict fair?
I think 10 years. For starters, they're saying the victim says was 17 years old. I don't know how true that is, but let's assume that there was evidence that the boy was actually 17 years old. The sex was not consensual. Let's say, I don't know if it was consensual or not. 10 years, when you look at it from the point of view of protecting a child, Chris Mubiru is a fully grown man. He had so many options of having sex with a fully grown man, consensual sex. No one, it doesn't matter gay, straight or what. People should not be having sex with underage people. Boy, girl, it doesn't matter. So, personally, much as I find being jailed for having same-sex sexual relations is a bit unfair, I think the fact that he had sex with an underage boy, 10 years, might be much, but it's okay.
Well, I think that is the view of most people. It comes off like this sentence was based on the fact that it was a same-sex scenario. It was not, yes, it was also about age, but they mainly focused on the fact that it was a same-sex incident. Ambrose, what would you have to say about that?
To me, talking on this judgment, as my colleague said, sex with minors is a very big offense. More so, non-consensual sex also is also something different. So, to me, the ruling was fair. When you first put aside the things of maybe the ruling was based on the fact that this was a case of homosexuality, maybe, as Penal Code says, cannot against the order of nature. But again, you see a person who is a young man, 17 years. Rape is rape, defilement is defilement, sex with a minor, serious for it. Even if I'm me too, even if you're my friend and you do such, I'm the one to hand you over to the authorities. Let people really respect these young people. And of course, if it was, for example, a man of like around 25, I can say, maybe they would say that the ruling was biased and everything. But this is, even our constitution says it, it's a minor. So, to me, I'm fair with the ruling, putting aside the issues of cannot judge against the order of nature, but I agree with the ruling.
Initially, the victim asked for 100 million, and most people think it came off as a materialistic thing, where he was, yes, we understand what he went through, but he is taking advantage of the situation. Yes, the judge brought it down to 50 million. Do you think the amount of money that they instructed Chris Mubiru to pay is in any way equivalent to what went on?
I think the monetary compensation is a bit too extreme. Unless that boy, the victim, is... first of all, we need to first go back and question the whole thing, how it came about. How did this boy end up in Chris's bedroom? What did he assume is going to happen there? I remember when they found Chris guilty, the judge actually did say sex was consensual. He says, yes, he's a minor, but he did allow him to have sex with Chris. What in the first place, what had he gone there for? Did he actually go there because we understand Chris has enough resources at his disposal? He's not a poor man. And was the boy there to sex work? Did the pastors behind, who are mostly behind pushing this case, Malay and the likes, why are they insisting on this? Yes, Chris is already going to spend 10 years in jail. What is the money about? Yes, he's a minor, he still has a future ahead of him, he can still work. The money is really, really not necessary. I don't think when you can put a price on something like that. Being compensated, it seems like these people were after extorting money out of Chris. I guess if it was another person, they would have just let it go. But since if you don't have the money, we don't need anything to do with, why should we be prosecuting you? But when the judge when this person asked for 100 million shillings, for you had sex with this man, you allowed, he didn't rape you, why are you saying your future is ruined? I think the money part was a bit off, was really off, not a bit. I believe it was very unnecessary.
Okay, and we've seen scenarios like this where a member of the LGBTI community is caught up in a legal issue and the community stands up in support. Even with this ruling, I'm sure you have seen here and there people saying it's unfair, but as a community, do you think people have learned to draw the line between defending their rights as LGBTI persons and keeping and accepting that a crime is a crime?
Thank you very much. When it comes to issues of, for example, the case of Mobilu, people should not use LGBTI rights as a scapegoat to do any kind of black, okay, they are dirty games and everything, or they are dirty stuff. Let people respect the fact that, yes, people, the sexual minorities are fighting for their rights, yes, but again, let us not misuse, this chance, because we can see we have gone from afar, we have come from afar. So when we have such scenarios, really, it's taking us back. So later, people, I think many people have learned. Of course, I think the Mobilu case is not the first. Maybe they have been happening. Maybe some have been not documented, some have not been followed up. But let this also be an eye opener that being gay, being lesbian doesn't mean that you have to have sex with minors and everything. Let it be a lesson. People to learn from this that no one is above the law. No one is above the law. That any time anything comes up on you like this, then you have to face the consequences. That's my observation.
I think when we refer to human rights when we say rights of the LGBTI, it seems like people sometimes tend to abuse it and assume that when you're saying rights of, it's
the special rights that you want.
No. It's human rights of the LGBTI people. The rights LGBTI people have are the same as the straight people. I think in this situation we've not seen a lot of positive support from Mobilu in the LGBTI community, because he had the evidence right there. They're not, and right now they're not punishing him because giving him the harsh punishment that he could have gotten if the bill had passed last time. They're committing him under the Penal Code Act, which has been here for a long time. And I think, yes, he did do the crime. We all know that he is under the Penal Code Act, like they say, he is guilty. He had the evidence, it was right there. Much as last time at the sentencing, they said that the government prosecutor gave evidence of finding Panadol and lubricant, which was really absurd. But I think we're all quiet because yes, we feel sorry that you've been committed to 10 years, it's a really long time, but you did do the crime. You did the crime, you need to serve your punishment.
And let's talk about the filming that has gotten him in trouble in the first place. Why do you think people do this? First of all, yes, there's filming for pleasure where we agree to just film our sexual acts. But in this case, these boys were not even aware they were being filmed. What do you think what pushes people to do things like this?
I think people have different fantasies. People have things they like, things you like, and not things that I like. things Ruth likes, they are not the same things maybe I do. So that's why of course we have been seeing leakages of nude pictures in the social media, starting off with Dazar Zinda, you go to many people. So to Chris Mubiri, maybe to me, he prefers maybe having sex, maybe filming, himself. But again, people forget we are in a digital world. We are in a digital world, and anything that you do and you just mess up with these digital things, you find yourself out. So maybe we will do these things, not knowing, like, for example, currently we have WhatsApp, we have Twitter, we have Facebook. So the world is just a small place within this digital era. So to also let it be a lesson, people have to be cautious with the way they handle information, the way you share your information. So it's all goes about with the era, the digitalized era, but again also maybe people's different fantasies also.
I think personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with recording your sexual acts. This is something done in private. I'm not sure if we cannot be sure if those boys didn't actually want to be recorded.
According to their court testimony, they were not aware.
What do we expect them to say right now?
Yes.
They cannot come out and say, yes, I did want. Just like none of them is coming out to say, this man actually gave me money before I had sex with him, or you're doing sex work. They cannot come out now and tell us the truth that I actually wanted to be recorded. But because it's something you do in your house, in the privacy of your bedroom, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Just if it's what gets you off. We all have things that we like. Maybe it just depends on how. You just need to be careful. I don't think there's anything wrong with him recording his sexual act anyway. The person who stole that laptop that had all that information also deserves to be punished in a way. You stole someone's private information, someone's private things. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
It's all fun and games until you get caught. Alright, we've also seen scenarios where people who are in positions of power in this community abuse them for especially sexual favors from the younger people in the community. What do you think brings that about?
The idea that actually it's common. It's not just this community. People in positions of power tend to assume that they have they wield this power over everybody else. I don't think the people in these positions intentionally intend to abuse the younger boys or girls. But there is this trend where more so in the boys community, where the boys assume the fact that I'm young, I can use my body to get anything I want. There's nothing wrong with sex work. If you say I'm doing sex work, it's okay. But if you assume that your body is going to take you places by extorting, sleeping around with older men simply because they have the money, you sleep with them, they give you the money. It also goes back to the fact that much as the older people in the LGBTI community tend to like the younger boys, it's also them who approach these men with the idea that I know you like this, and I'm willing to give you my body in exchange for whatever you can give me.
Right, Ambrose, what do you think can be done to bring down these incidents?
I think what can be done, I believe people hold the responsibilities to maybe stick their stand and say maybe I do say no to such. Maybe this young man can say, no, I won't. Maybe let people take their positions and say, maybe I refuse to be used at the expense of maybe the small thing I'm just going to get. But also, we as leaders also, let's try to tie each and everything about the sexual advancements and everything. And of course, I believe maybe it's a few leaders, maybe, and if you're doing that, I don't like it. So let people, these people who come, maybe with the intention of getting from the leaders, maybe know that I will get something from him or her. then of course in the exchange of sex, let also that people take off that mentality. And also of course I blame it all on people who don't want to work. People believe, of course, being kuchu, of course they want to be treated special as if no, that's why even sometimes I say there's nothing like LGBTI rights. Why do you want to bring that tag, as if you are from Mars or from Jupiter? You're gonna like another person. You have to work to get what to feed your family, to get to of course to live a good life. You have to and these rights we are entitled to enjoy these freedoms. And if any other guy is enjoying these rights, maybe freedom of expression, freedom of my rights to privacy, I'm a Ugandan entitled to these rights because they are inherent. Let people stop this thing of saying I'm special and everything. That's what brings people saying, I can't do that work because I'm good. I can't do that. That's so odd. Let that stop. I think people should start working. I think those will just end.
All right. Going back to refer to the Chris Mubiru case, we have learned that the sexual act in question was consensual. Why do you think it's only one person being held accountable and not both parties? Is it an age issue at hand?
I think in this situation, Chris was just singled out because of who he was. He's a rich man who comes from an influential family. I think, just like the judge said, it was consensual sex. If the penal code says it's punishing you for having carnal knowledge against the order of nature, that boy had sex with Chris. If it's to be fair, let both of them be punished. Chris got the raw deal of this thing because their pastors pushing for it. People are trying to make an example of him. But there are two guilty parties in this situation. Unless if Chris had raped him, that would be okay for Chris to be punished alone. But this boy agreed to have sex with him. I don't know. I'm sure Chris, he might have been attracted by so many positive things Chris might have that we don't know. But he did want Chris's money. He understood that to get Chris's money, I need to sleep with him. Chris gave him money. He expected sex in return. That boy, either he was, even if he was a sex worker, he had sex with Chris, let them both be punished. It doesn't matter if he's a minor or what. There are two people who did this. If they're punishing, I believe they both should be punished.
Ambrose?
I guess that video may be there's something if the way they take their ruling, maybe there is a part they are not showing us. I don't believe Mubiru go this boy, maybe like as if you put a rope in it, go and drag it into, I think this somewhere they had an agreement, But again, now when you're trying to crucify Mubiru alone, and the Penal Code section 145 clearly says carnal knowledge against the order of nature, of course, which means because sex involves two parts, of course, not the other sex, the other people, maybe there's the solo alone, but this is sex which involves two parties, and as according to the law, you all committed something which is contrary to what the Ugandan perceive with the heteronormativity perception of sex, man and woman, which if you had sex between man and man, then you deviated from the major, of course, as the Penal Code says it. So this boy also has to be punished. But then, of course, now based on the fact of the bias and the backing, the fundamentalists, for example, Male has pushed such cases hard, and of course for him it's an achievement. I saw him on TV we were celebrating, we finally have got him. I think also court should consider this boy, how much being a man and everything, maybe there was something like an agreement. The boy was not forced into this. So him also let put the other issues of blackmail and everything, but the fact that he also did something which has the law, where Mubiru has been also penalized, that also the boy get the same punishment.
All right.
Yeah. And I believe to go to Chris's defense as well, isn't extortion a crime in Uganda? First of all, that boy was trying to extort money out of Chris. Even Male should be, there has to be a case against him. Because these are people who are saying, yes, you had homosexual sex, which is a crime. But before, if Chris had come out and offered them money, the 100 million they wanted before they went to court, I'm sure they couldn't have pushed it. Isn't there a law that is supposed to protect us against such things? Extortion should be a crime in itself. Everyone in this whole situation has been a criminal. Why is it's annoying that Chris is the only person who is being punished. Yes, he did the crime, the evidence was right there, but there are so many laws broken in this whole process.
Alright, unfortunately that's all the time we had today. We'll catch up with you next week, same time.